Hey everybody, I am Jared Ross, the GeneaVlogger, and this is vlog number 14. Now, I was actually inspired to do this video because recently I've been looking in depth into my second great uncle, Abraham Kaseno, and his involvement in World War I. While I was at the IAJGS conference, I was able to use the resource room, and through what they had available, I was able to find records that showed that he was in the war, which is something I'd kind of seen before, but I hadn't really seen in depth. So recently I started looking real in depth into him, and I thought it would be a great video to talk about how I've gone about my research and what I plan to do in the future. So what I'll be talking about today is my research into his World War I involvement, as well as creating a narrative out of what I find and understanding the actual story. So starting out, you need to just understand the basic history of World War I. And being that my second great uncle was an American citizen, I need to understand the history in the context of the United States. Now, the US didn't get involved in World War I until 1917. The US declared war on Germany in April of 1917, and a month later they enacted the Selective Service Act, which was the draft. Now, the World War I draft is extremely useful in genealogy research because it gives names, it gives birth dates, which are often much more reliable than what you'll find on a census record. It will often list different family members, and it also gives you information on that person's actual physical stature. It'll give you height, it'll give you eye color, it'll give you hair color. Sometimes it'll give you a bit more information, and if they have any physical defects or anything that would make it so they weren't eligible for service, it would most likely be listed there. One important thing to remember about the World War I draft are the birth dates of those who had to register. Anybody born between September 13th, 1873 and September 12th, 1900 was required to register for the draft. So if you're researching a male in the US, even if they didn't fight in World War I and they were born between those dates, you're more than likely going to find a draft record for them. Now, having found my second great uncle's draft record, he and only one of his brothers were eligible for the draft. Both registered, he and his brother Isidor. They both registered on June 5th, 1917. So they registered less than a month after the passage of the Selective Service Act. Now, of the two brothers, Abraham was the only one who actually served. So to research that further, the best place to look would be Ancestry.com and Fold3.com, which share a lot of the same records. And the records on these websites are behind a paywall, so you will need to pay for a membership to be able to see them. They hold transport lists, so you can actually see the movement across the seas. Another thing that they have is the BIRLS file. Now, BIRLS stands for the Beneficiary Identification Records Locator Subsystem. A little bit of a mouthful, but this is something that's filed at the death of a veteran, and it will often list basic information. And the record that I found most useful in my research has been the compensation files. And I found a compensation file on Abraham which details his service. It should list what company, battalion, and division he served in. It should also list any engagements he may have been in. It would also list any active duty while overseas. So for Abraham, from his compensation file, I was able to find out that he served in Company D of the 304th Engineers of the 79th Division. But that doesn't really give the story. The story really comes out of understanding what was happening. So to actually understand what he went through, not just where he was and the dates and just bare facts, I wanted to understand the battle. I wanted to understand the dates that he was a part of the battle and where he was during those dates. The first dates I know of a specific area and specific dates of where he was in France was between October 15th and October 25th. He was in the Troyon sector. So I did a quick search of this, and I actually found videos of the Troyon sector, and watching that, I was able to see literally what he saw. So the next dates that we have of Abraham are from October 28th to November 11th. He was at the Meuse-Argonne offensive. So knowing these dates, I looked into it, and I was able to see that that was actually October 28th was when the third wave and the final wave of the offensive was sent to the front lines. Reading about the battle, I learned that it was actually the deadliest battle in United States Army history. So from there, knowing the company, the battalion, the division, battles that he served in, I decided to look for things that were specific about these details. So first, I wanted to find out about the 79th Division. So I Googled that and I was able to find a lot of information, and I found it was a new division during World War I. It was created just a few months before Abraham became a part of it. And I was able to find a couple of different websites that were dedicated to different battalions of that division. And in that searching, I was actually able to find that there is a historical group that focused specifically on the 304th Engineers of the 79th Division. So I decided to contact them. They instantly got back to me. They sent me all sorts of details. They sent me books on the 304th Engineers. They sent me books on the 79th Division. They sent me details on archives and repositories that hold all sorts of information specifically on the 304th Engineers. And they were able to give me a whole slew of things that I can do to further my research. Now from here, I have a lot of research to do. I need to read the books that I was sent. I need to visit the archives that I was told to visit. I know that some of these archives actually hold diaries and journals of soldiers and officers who served alongside my second great uncle. There's also pictures. So there's a whole lot for me to do in the future with this research, and this has just been a really interesting journey learning about my second great uncle and what he went through, having never known that I even had anyone in the family who fought in World War I. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to give it the thumbs up if you enjoyed. You can click right about here if you'd like to subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GeneaVlogger. I am the GeneaVlogger. I'm out.